unseat the reigning champion New York Knicks?
Absolutely. I want to go back to that graphic. I don't know how in the world you have Boston as a favorite to win a championship over the New York Knicks. I'm assuming that they think that Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, but even still, that's an utter disrespect to the New York Knicks. I don't know if Vinny put those odds together himself or what. But like when I'm looking at what's going on in the Eastern Conference and the way that some of these other teams have digressed a little bit, and the way that Toronto has just replaced Brandon Ingram, who is not a bad player, with the guy who fits right there and will fill all the holes that Toronto has. Yes, they are absolutely the biggest threat to the New York Knicks. They are the second best team in the Eastern Conference as of today. Of course, people can make different moves, don't even know where LeBron is going. But right now, when you talk about Toronto and their deficiencies, right, they could not score late in the shot clock. Kawhi Leonard's top 10 in scoring when 6 seconds left in the shot clock. Clutch scoring. Kawhi Leonard can do all of that. And then defense, they were already a top-level defense, and you are adding him to a great defense. They are going to cause problems on both ends. I think this is a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense. And when you are that in the Eastern Conference, you can beat anybody.
Wendy, how do you see it?
It's July 1st, so it's very hard to rank the Eastern Conference right now. The teams haven't made their moves. We don't know where Jalen Brown is playing. We don't know where LeBron is playing. There could be another move that happens. So I will say for July 1st, yeah, I got the Raptors right up there, just below the Knicks. The Pistons have got me scratching my head today, Courtney, because they're signing John Collins. Nice player. The Pistons off-season acquisitions. You know, the Pistons didn't do anything in mid-season this year because they wanted to watch this team and they wanted to sort of save their bullets for a bigger move later on. They end up having a very disappointing second-round cash out, and their off-season moves have been to replace Tobias Harris with John Collins and to trade for Isaiah Joe. I mean, I'm a little bit more impressed with Kawhi Leonard being upgraded to the roster, to the Raptors at this point. So if I'm the Pistons, I don't know how I'm feeling about Kawhi Leonard going to Toronto, and I'm like, well, we got John Collins. I mean, no offense to him, but he's not a needle mover. Kawhi Leonard's a needle mover. The big thing is here, and the way you evaluate this trade is when you hear what this extension is going to be, because that's agreed to. Kawhi Leonard knows what he's getting, and it's going to be 9 figures. You're not going to know for sure until you see whether he's healthy next spring as well.
Yeah, flexibility in Detroit only works if you actually do something with it. I am a little flummoxed right now with Detroit and what they've done through a 60-win season. They traded out Isaiah Stewart. Jalen Duren is taking meetings. Who knows what that's going to happen? He's a restricted free agent. Of course, they're going to match their offers. But to Kawhi Leonard, you slot him into Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, Jakob Poeltl. Like, you have those players who have the sweat equity of playing together most recently. And like you said, David, they were a team that struggled in the half court. Kawhi Leonard is one of those guys, 50, 40, 90. He doesn't turn the ball over. He makes his free throws. He takes good, smart shots. There's nobody better, honestly. Maybe Jalen Brunson in the Eastern Conference, whose hands you want the ball in the last 5 seconds of the shot clock. They are a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference, and they make themselves a home for future transactions both this summer and at the trade deadline because you have that guy locked up.
Yeah, and as Wendy just said, he's expecting a 9-figure deal. We know one thing about players when they're in a contract year, they tend to be on the court a lot more often. That's good news for the Toronto Raptors. All right, straight ahead.
My fellow Sixers fans, I have no idea why that's the only highlight we insist on showing around here, considering the guys won a championship, but I digress. Kawhi Leonard heading back to Toronto, and here's a look at the details of the trade. Raptors get Kawhi back for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, unprotected first-round picks in 31 and 33, a 2027 first-round pick swap, and a pair of second-round picks. Let's get the fellas back in here. Vince Goodwill joins me, Wendy, Tim McMahon as well. Wendy, we begin with you. Kawhi Leonard, does he make Toronto a serious title contender right now?
I do believe he's a serious contender in the Eastern Conference for sure. This is the first transaction that's happened in this cycle that has really, I think, changed the face of the NBA, changed the balance of power. Obviously, Giannis is a top 5 player in the league, and the Heat have potential. Their roster, in my view, isn't quite complete yet. Toronto is a team that I think is now very formidable. You add Kawhi Leonard, who had a brilliant season last year, second team All-NBA, one of the best seasons, frankly, of his career, arguably the best season he had as a Clipper. and add him to a Toronto team that is ascendant with Scottie Barnes, who is developing into one of the best young two-way players in the league. Another team, team that has a lot of different dynamic to their roster. I think this now becomes a team that is instantaneously a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. The most important thing they've got to do here is have Kawhi stay healthy. That is far and above, and that makes it very hard to be predictive in July. However, there is no doubt that the Toronto Raptors signaled their intention to rejoin the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference.
Played 58 games just twice in 7 years with the Clippers, so the health point is certainly one worth noting. Tim McMahon, as exciting as this can be right now, Kawhi spent 7 seasons with the Clippers. They won a grand total of 3 playoff series during that stretch. Is this move as impactful as it looks on the surface?
If Kawhi is healthy, they have arguably the best duo in the Eastern Conference. The ceiling has absolutely been raised to being a legitimate contender, but that is obviously a huge if. This is a high-risk, high-reward move. He did not come for cheap. I mean, forget about the players they gave up. The 2 unprotected picks, 2031, 2033. They're going to extend his contract. I'm sure it's going to be a massive number for a guy who's in his mid-30s, still an elite player, fills all the gaps for the Raptors in terms of a half-court creator, a playoff dominator, a closer. But again, there's so much risk with Kawhi because you don't know how often he's going to be on the floor, and you paid a massive cost to get him.
Vince, the hangover is probably still in effect for the Knicks, both literally and figuratively. And you're already watching multiple teams around the East arm up. Kawhi to Toronto, Giannis to Miami. Which move do you see as more impactful for the upcoming season?
For the upcoming season, maybe it's Kawhi because there's more of a fully formed roster in Toronto. Long term, you're looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Miami Heat. Let's not sleep on Miami. We know that they can go get guys on the minimum. They've always found guys on the fringes of rosters that can help them. Remember, they went to the finals as an AFC where their best player was Jimmy Butler. Now your best player is still a top 5 player in Giannis. You just signed Tim Hardaway Jr. yesterday, one of the top 6 men in the league, one of the best 3-point shooters. You have a couple more signings like that, even without LeBron or the specter of LeBron. You are in the championship conversation. The same questions that you have about Kawhi Leonard and his health are the same questions that you have about Giannis and his health. So there is no team to me that stands above the other, but I'm not sure if the New York Knicks are afraid. They're just aware of everything right now.
While enjoying themselves on their offseason. Wendy, slide in here. Given what you've seen so far in Miami and what you've seen so far in Toronto, who's positioning themselves for a better run next season?
Yeah, if you look, the Heat, I know the Heat made a trade for Giannis, but it almost feels like it was a free agent signing because of how they had to hollow out so much of their front line and their roster depth. I really think that probably, and I underline probably because I can't predict what's going to happen in this offseason totally, that the Heat are probably going to be more effective and more built out in 27-28. That is where I would expect them. In 26-27, right now, I know what's going to be on the Raptors roster, and they even still have some levers that they can pull to improve this roster further if they want to. They still have first-round picks left to trade, and they have some expiring salary. So I'm interested in Toronto, but I'm also telling you, I don't know where Jalen Brown's going to be, and I don't know where LeBron James is going to be, so I ain't ranking anybody.
Keep it locked here because the NBA news is coming fast and furious. We will